It's kind of the oldest story in digital pathology is the debate between open and closed platform. But our mentality is that the only way you can future proof is to ensure that no matter what technology you're adopting today, you're not precluded from adopting some additional technology in the future. And that is particularly relevant for artificial intelligence, for AI solutions that are going to be developed by many different companies, serve many different purposes, create immense amounts of value, but ultimately all needs to be tied back into the routine workflow.
Welcome to the People of Pathology podcast. I'm Dennis Strank. On this podcast, we explore pathology, laboratory medicine, and forensic science. With so many AI applications coming out, it's sometimes hard to keep up with them. It would be nice if there was one place to go where you could compare and assess which ones you need. Today, Nathan Buchbinder from Proscia returns to the podcast. We're going to discuss Proscia's precision medicine AI portfolio. Nathan also gives some good practical advice for labs that are just starting out on their AI journey. All right, let's get into this deep dive with Nathan Buchbinder. Today, we're going to be talking about Proscia's precision medicine AI portfolio, which I know is becoming rather popular for you guys. So I want to get a little bit of a deeper dive in what it is. So what is this precision medicine portfolio and how did it come about?
Yeah, we've seen a ton of interest in this. Our precision medicine portfolio is the set of leading diagnostic and over 120 research applications that we make available on our platform, Concentriq. The reason that we have introduced this precision medicine AI portfolio is because what we're finding is that labs, customers are looking for a means of easily deploying, supporting, and using AI. There's so many problems that AI can solve in pathology. There's so many new applications coming out. And what they have had to do historically is assess each application one-on-one and then figure out how they're going to put all of these together. And this solves that problem for them. This portfolio creates a single place where they can assess the applications and the use cases that they're interested in exploring. And ultimately, all of the apps that are a part of the precision medicine AI portfolio are solutions that they can deploy in the same place. So it's very straightforward, it's streamlined. And I'll suggest that this becomes increasingly relevant and impactful as precision medicine gains a stronger toehold in the field of pathology. Precision medicine requires precision diagnostics and biomarkers and tools. And we're expanding the AI portfolio, the precision medicine AI portfolio, particularly in that direction as well.
Okay, I like this. One of the things you said is it streamlines the process, which I think is very important because like you're saying, there's all these new AI applications coming out and it might be a little bit confusing, like trying to how are you going to put them all together? So this helps to do that, right?
That's exactly right. It makes it much easier from start to finish, from assessing apps, evaluating them, deploying them, supporting them, and actually using them. It makes it much simpler. It takes the infinitely complex and boils the ocean down into exactly what a laboratory needs to see.
Okay. Now, one of the features of this that really stood out, at least to me, was you don't just include your own applications. There are applications from other companies. And also the customers, the users can create their own applications to use with this system. Can you talk about this feature? And I want to get into also like why this type of collaboration is important.
Yeah, the reason that it's important that we support all of these applications from not just Proscia, but from other third parties, other AI developers, is because there are so many challenges that AI is going to solve in pathology. There's already literally 150 plus applications of AI in pathology across diagnostics and research. And no one company is going to build all of them. Visiopharm is going to solve some. Ibex is going to solve others. Nucleai is going to solve another set. But the customer, the laboratory that's actually using and deploying these applications, has to find some mechanism by which they can take all of those use cases and bring them together in a single place and assess them in parallel and ensure that they work well together. So the question becomes, how do you take these multiple vendors and bring them into one home, into one experience that is really streamlined for the customer. So when you say collaboration, you're right that there is a fair amount of collaboration that's happening between us and these other vendors, but we're largely taking that and making that happen behind the scenes so that it's abstracted for the customer, so that it's abstracted for the lab, and that they don't need to speak at length about every aspect of assessment and functionality and deployment and performance and support with the 4 or 5 or 6 different vendors that are supplying the different applications that they'll be using. And again, that challenge is only going to get more important over time as more applications come out. So this is kind of a future-proofed approach where Proscia handles the challenging aspects of collaborating and uh, synergizing the products and the experiences, and delivers a very simple approach for laboratories. I'll also note, by the way, you hit on customers being able to develop their own applications. You know, we have a strong set of developer tools and an API that supports the integration of customer built applications into the platform. That doesn't mean by default that they're a part of the precision medicine portfolio, although that is absolutely something that somebody who develops an application can talk to us about. But it's pretty important to us because we think that a lot of the technology trends around us are making it much easier for companies and for laboratories to develop or refine their own AI applications, and the ability to make that accessible to themselves in their workflow and potentially to others is a pretty significant aspect of this.
Okay, a couple points about this. Now, what you were just talking about, that says to me it's like kind of the whole Concentriq platform. This is customizable. So either there's apps there that you can just use, or if you want to develop your own, you can do that as well. And that makes it, like I said, customizable, more precise for the patients that that particular lab is treating, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's spot on. And we are able to support these applications that we're building, that our customers are building, and that third parties are building. I'll note that when we say customizable, we tend not to use that term because we believe that Concentriq out of the box is kind of exactly what our customers need. Instead, it's about the configuration of that product. It's about what parts you choose to turn on and turn off, which applications you choose to make available and which ones you don't. But from there, the product is designed with the right features, functionality, and interface and experience to address the needs of any of these labs.
You just announced multi AI workflows on Concentriq AP, which is your research only platform. Can you explain what this is and how it relates to the precision medicine AI portfolio? Do you mean that it works on a single image?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's on a single image or on multiple different elements of a work list, right? A researcher or scientist might be studying you know many many different specimen that they want to assess, or a pathologist might be looking at those as well. And so in that same work list, you can run any number of applications, and on the same image, you can run any number of applications, and the results of that are seamlessly incorporated in a way that you can you know, take those results, take that output of these several AI applications from multiple vendors, tie them together, and get a really comprehensive picture, the most comprehensive and complete picture of what you're looking at in the image itself, in a way that a single application wouldn't allow you to do. So if you take, for example, breast pathology, where as you're assessing or trying to understand what's in the image, you might want to quantify biomarkers like HER2, ER, PR, Ki67. You may want to assess whether there's likely lymph node metastasis. You might want to give a stage for that. There are other precision assessment tools you might want to run on that image. And all of those applications might come from one or several vendors, and they certainly provide different outputs, each of which is very valuable. What multi-AI workflows allows somebody to do is tie all of that together in a way that is really digestible, understandable, and the most comprehensive look at that image and at that specimen that uh, you're able to obtain.
Okay, got it. All right, so you mentioned breast cancer. What other tissue types can you analyze with this system?
Yeah, I mean, we have a growing portfolio. We already support 4 of the top 5 most common cancers with multiple applications for those. We have 120 research applications more than that are supported as a part of the portfolio today across a very wide range of indications. And we have a pipeline that's even more robust. So, solutions that are being brought into the platform that are being connected to Concentriq and made a part of that continues to expand the value that somebody can get by leveraging our precision medicine AI portfolio.
So this kind of ties in with the future proofing you were talking about earlier because it's constantly expanding as new applications come out.
That's exactly right. And part of why we see there as being a need for an open platform approach. It's kind of the oldest story in digital pathology is the debate between open and closed platform. But our mentality is that the only way you can future proof is to ensure that no matter what technology you're adopting today, you're not precluded from adopting some additional technology in the future. And that is particularly relevant for artificial intelligence, for AI solutions that are going to be developed by many different companies, serve many different purposes, create immense amounts of value, but ultimately all needs to be tied back into the routine workflow.
You kind of touched on this already, but this AI portfolio is available on Proscia's Concentriq platform. So I'm curious, like, what was the benefit of this, of having it part of the system?
A lot of the big news that you see about artificial intelligence and the things that people remember are the analytical performance of these tools. How sensitive is it? How specific is it? How well does it work at identifying X or Y or Z? But ultimately, if you can't tie that back into your day-to-day workflow, into how you're assessing these specimen, how you're looking at these images, and then ultimately doing something with it, coming out with a report or an assessment, you're kind of dead in the water. What you've got is a nice toy, but not a functional solution. And so the tie-in to Concentriq is absolutely critical because that's what the pathologist or the scientist ends up seeing. They're using these applications within some context, within a particular workflow to address some particular use case. And Concentriq is the tool that they're using to do that. So the tighter the tie-in between AI and platform, the more value that these labs are going to get. And Concentriq is the center of that.
Okay, that makes sense. So again, more streamlining, making it easier for labs to use.
Exactly.
This is the People of Pathology podcast with our guest, Nathan Buchbinder. We'll be right back. LabVine's Laboratory Transformation Seasonal School is taking place virtually on September 3rd and 4th, 2024. This year's theme is Unlock the Power, utilizing new technologies to streamline workflows and improve performance. You'll earn 6 continuing education credits with topics like digital pathology, lab networks, and improving lab turnaround times. Oh yeah, and it's free. Go to labvinelearning.com and click on the events tab. It's the little calendar icon on the right side of the menu, or you can just follow the link in the show notes to register. If you think it would be nice to have a helpful reference about digital pathology, I have some great news for you. Dr. Alexander Zhurdov has written a book called Digital Pathology 101. All you need to know to start and continue your digital pathology journey. This book will help you whether you're a complete novice or a digital pathology trailblazer. You can get a copy of it by following the link in the show notes. Now for the rest of my conversation with Nathan Buchbinder on the People of Pathology podcast. Proscia announced the Proscia Ready Partner Alliance. It was back last winter. So how does this AI portfolio then fit in with that?
Yeah, every company that's developing applications that are a part of our portfolio is a Proscia Ready partner. We had talked earlier about collaboration with developers, and this is exactly what it is. Proscia Ready is how we deliver against 3 key pillars with each of these AI developers, namely delivering a robust and seamless and high quality experience integration between their AI application and our platform, delivering a joint support agreement so that a customer that's using one or several applications in Concentriq knows that if they need help with something, they don't have to talk to 10 or 20 different people to get an answer. It's one person that they need to go to, and they can address any of the concerns that might pop up. And it's a shared vision, right? Ultimately, nobody is staying static in this space. These applications are improving over time. We have our roadmap, and these AI developers have theirs. But the shared vision ensures that we continue to build in the same general direction, so that our platform Concentriq continues to support the latest and greatest features and outputs of these new applications that are being developed, and so that these applications are being developed with the same sense as to where they tie into the workflow and what it looks like in practice to deliver the most value to our shared customers, to laboratories, pathologists, scientists.
Do you think something like this would help to speed up development? Because it seems like it eliminates, maybe not all, but some of the overlap. Like, these different companies don't have to develop the same thing. They can each
Yeah,
do what they're best at.
that's exactly right. It speeds up the development, because what it means is that the considerations that these AI companies have around how this ties into workflow are largely answered for them. Um, they don't necessarily need to worry about the user interface components, because we provide them what they need to see in order to ensure that they're going to deliver an output that can tie back into the workflow. And similarly, we're hearing from these AI companies what they need to see in order for the latest and greatest computational solutions to create the most value for customers. And we're building that into our platform, Concentriq. So the two absolutely go hand in hand. And Proscia Ready helps to ensure that we can deliver the value of the precision medicine AI portfolio in that regard.
So, all right, I'm a lab and I'm looking to adopt AI. What would what would be kind of your recommendations for how to go about doing that?
I think the first consideration before you start looking at each individual AI application is that you need to decide what your technology strategy or approach is going to be. And the most fundamental decision to make is whether you're going to choose an open or a closed system. I've already espoused my view on the value of open and how it
Hmm.
leaves a lab in a better position to address future needs and demands, to give optionality now and in the future. But the open versus closed debate going through single vendor, is certainly one that's a consideration, and something that, again, from our lens, programs like Proscia Ready and offerings like our precision medicine AI portfolio are meant to help to address. Once you've made that decision on your broader strategy, open versus closed, you're going to want to do a rigorous assessment of the use cases for AI that your lab is looking to address. You're going to want to do a pretty comprehensive assessment, because, again, it influences your long term strategic decision making. Once you've done that longer term assessment and understood which workflows are going to be impacted by AI and how, you're going to want to isolate down the handful of workflows and AI applications that you think are going to be most impactful and that your team is most eager to address today. It's not because you can't address, or adopt all AI across your entire workflow all at once. We just see that most labs don't do it that way. Most labs select the 2 to 5 applications that they think are going to be most directly impactful, and then scale up from there, create additional value over time. So once you've decided on open versus close, you've assessed your broader set of AI use cases, you've narrowed down to the handful that you're going to initially start with and build off of. I would say one important step is to find your internal champion. This is something that I think is undervalued in the adoption process and the decision making process. But if what you have is a general sense that everyone wants AI, but a lack of a single point of contact who's going to own the decision making process around that, that's a part of the lab and understands everybody's needs, you often end up making malinformed decisions and don't have the authority internally to see this through, to see it executed. So that internal champion should be somebody who has some skin in the game, who will be impacted by the use of these applications, but who also understands the broader financial and operational and clinical decision making impacts of adopting these AI solutions. And then the last step in the process after you've done that is to start to work with and find your trusted partner in the vendors that you're working with. I'd like to hope that that's always Proscia, but yeah, I recognize sometimes it won't be. Regardless, having that strong dynamic is essential. You're not buying widgets, you're not buying small tools or reagents or consumables. What you're buying is something that's a solution that powers the most critical parts of how your lab operates. And so finding a partner that works with you, that's engaged, that's responsive, that puts you first and that understands the value that they're bringing and how that creates value for you is pretty essential.
Okay, that's good. Those are great recommendations. I like that a lot. One other thing I want to talk about, Proscia recently announced a partnership with Nucleai. And I've talked to, I think, two people now from Nucleai on this podcast, and what they're doing is fascinating. So I'm curious about this, and how does this help to increase the functionality of Concentriq?
Yeah, we're thrilled about the recent partnership with Nucleai and their inclusion as a part of the precision medicine AI portfolio. The kinds of AI that they're building are very different than what others have been building historically in digital pathology. They're looking at, if I had to summarize it, AI biomarkers. They're looking at tools that serve as precision diagnostics or as companions to therapies or as insight drivers that don't just inform a single diagnosis or a single assessment, but could help to really shape how new therapies make their way to patients. We're we think that this is part of the next generation of AI and a part of the next generation of how pathology is practiced that they're helping to enable. So their inclusion in the precision medicine AI portfolio ensures that we can address those use cases and move the entire industry forward. There's going to be a combination of use cases, biomarker quantification, identification of certain features, assessment and scoring, and some of what Nucleai is doing around kind of AI precision solutions that all are a part of this comprehensive workflow. And we're thrilled to be able to partner with them in particular to expand that portfolio with some of the latest and greatest that they're bringing to market.
Yeah, I'm interested in this. I'm going to be following this development and see where it leads, because it just seems like the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. We're just at the cusp of this.
For sure. All right, last question then. So we've been talking about what Proscia is doing now. Can you tell me like what's next for Proscia?
Yeah, we've touched on this already, but we're really focused on continuing to grow that precision medicine AI portfolio. There's so much value to add, and we want to make sure that our customers have access to all of it. Beyond that, we continue to make platform enhancements and updates and add new functionality that creates more value for our customers and makes it even more obvious not only why they should be digital, but should be digital with a lens towards AI. In that light, I'd actually encourage anyone who's listening, if you're listening early enough, to join us on a webinar that we're hosting on September 17th about our RUO product, Concentriq AP, where we're going to spotlight multi-AI workflows amongst other new features and enhancements that are a part of the platform now. I'd say in coming full circle, we see the precision medicine opportunity and the value that it creates for our customers and for the industry more broadly and for patients. And we're continuing to take steps to help to elevate pathology's role in delivering that kind of precision care that patients expect and to shift the paradigm for healthcare providers, for pathologists and diagnosticians, for those that are developing these new drugs, and for the industry more broadly. You know, precision medicine AI portfolio is a really good example, and we're thrilled to continue to make that a part of how we move the needle in delivering the best care for patients.
All right, I love it. That's a great vision for what's coming in pathology. Nathan, this has been a great conversation. I enjoy, obviously, like I said, I enjoy talking about AI. I could probably talk about this kind of stuff all day long, but it's interesting to hear what Proscia has coming. And so, Nathan Buchbinder, thank you very much.
Thanks, Dennis.
If you're looking for another episode of the People of Pathology podcast to check out after this one, here's a clip from my interview with Amanda Coble from Proscia as we talk about some possible future applications of AI in pathology.
We're also going to see apps that go beyond sort of what your augmentation, right? Like you're improving upon workflows that already exist or things that already exist. And that are really going to unlock completely new insights and functionality and things that were not even possible with traditional microscopy. And then that's going to really continue to advance precision medicine, especially combined with other, clinical data. And I mean, to me, that is super exciting. These targeted therapies, to me, that's sort of amazing. And then the other area we're starting to see a bit on are labs wanting to actually develop their own homegrown applications for their own purposes. So those are the areas I kind of see, at least in the near term, that are going to be the biggest areas of focus for AI. But, I have a feeling there are things no one's even thought of yet, right? As we continue to unlock all the things that digital pathology can offer.
You can hear more from Amanda Coble in episode 169. All right, big thanks to Nathan Buchbinder. So in this episode, we explored the origins and growing popularity of Proscia's precision medicine AI portfolio. Nathan explained how this portfolio streamlines the deployment and use of AI. I think there are two big takeaways from this episode. The first is the portfolio support for applications from various developers, not just Proscia, allowing for a collaborative and comprehensive approach to AI. This open platform approach ensures that labs can future-proof their technology adoption, integrating new AI solutions as they emerge. The second thing is Nathan's set of recommendations for labs looking to adopt AI. Nathan recommended deciding between an open or closed system. He suggested starting with just a few impactful applications, then finding an internal champion who can drive the adoption process. He also highlighted the importance of partnering with a responsive and engaged vendor. We wrapped up by discussing Proscia's recent partnership with Nucleai, which brings innovative AI biomarkers to the portfolio. And Nathan shared Proscia's vision for the future, focusing on expanding the precision medicine AI portfolio and enhancing the Concentriq platform. As Nathan mentioned, there's a webinar on September 17th to learn more about the new release of Concentriq AP. You can go to Proscia.com and find that under the News and Resources tab. I'll also have a link to it in the show notes. Don't forget you can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram. That's @PeopleOfPath, or just connect with me on LinkedIn. Thank you for continuing to share the show with others. Together, let's inspire the next generation of pathologists and laboratory professionals. This show is a member of Health Podcast Network. Thanks for listening. I'm Dennis Strank, and I'll talk to you next time on the People of Pathology podcast.